if you want to know how to achieve this look. Keep watching!
Okay, so we are starting out with a clean face. That is MAC's eyebrow gel I'm using to put on my eyebrows, and it's just a clear one. And then from that, I'm using the pencil Spiked by MAC, and I'm just drawing the eyebrows in using light strokes here on both sides. And you're welcome to use whatever pencil you like. Some people use shadow. I use a combination of pencil and shadow. And then I'm using the angled brush to blend out, and I'm using, that's corduroy, and I'm putting that on to set the pencil on my eyebrow. And I'm just using a flat synthetic brush to put MAC's NC45 concealer to define my brows, and also put in the eyebrow area and all over my lid. And yeah, making sure that you put it on, and make sure if you do this part that you blend. If you don't wear foundation, I would not put the concealer on top of the brow, just underneath it. And I think that it gives it a nice definition if you do this part here. That is soft ochre. I'm putting that all over the lid as my base, and that's a MAC paint pot. And then I'm using Fascinating Eye Kohl by MAC, and I think it's called Eye Kohl, but it's Fascinating, and it's a pencil. And then I'm just removing any harsh lines with that same synthetic brush. I'm taking Carbon, and I am cutting my crease here and just going back and forth, picking up the Carbon on the brush and cutting the crease. And I did this, of course, as you can see, on both sides here. Yeah, it was definitely an experience. I think this has become like one of my favorite techniques. There I'm putting Saddle. No, that's not Saddle, that's Embark. I'm putting Embark, and I'm blending the Embark in the Carbon. That's what that is. And then I'm taking Sugar Pills Dolly Pop, and I'm blending it into the Embark and the Carbon as we're going up. And try to be careful with this part because you don't want to use the rest of your eyelid space. And here I'm just touching up the crease because I kind of blended it out too much. So I'm just making it sharper right there, and just using a blending brush to do so, as those all three colors, the Carbon, the Embark, and the Dolly Pop. And using a flat shader brush and putting Vex as my highlight color in my brow area. And Vex is a nice shiny pinky iridescent color, one of my favorites. I'm taking a blending brush and just blending everything together here. I am taking MAC's Sushi Flower on the lower lid. Now you can stop right here if you would like, and the look would be perfectly fine. And just, I would say, if you were going to stop here, to make sure that you touched up your crease area, your cut crease here. But you're perfectly welcome to stop right here. Me, I kept going on. I put a little Emerald Lagasse Bam on it. And here I'm just blending again, making sure that all the colors are blended and gradient, having a gradient effect. Here I'm taking MAC's Magenta Madness pigment, and I'm putting that all over the bottom lid. And that's the extra step. This is completely and totally optional. I thought it was a nice bam to it. Ooh, 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 go Risa, go Risa, ooh, ooh, ooh. Okay, I'm back now. I digressed. So after we did that, just touching up, I took away, cleaned up the fallout from the pigment. Now I am looking for something. I'm taking the Sonia Kashuk's gel liner, and I am lining the top of my eyes with an angled brush with the Sonia Kashuk gel liner. I did not want to risk using boot black and then mess it up. I kind of wanted a thinner line. And then I'm taking MAC Slick Back and I'm doing the lower lash line with that. And then I'm going to actually smudge that out with Embark. That's what you see me doing right there, just smudging that out with Embark. And taking that all the way up and connecting the corners. I think, yeah, that's what I did. Next, we're taking one of my favorite mascaras, Haute Note, Little Haute Note by MAC. And the first thing I did, I used the first wand, the pink wand. If you're familiar with the mascara, there's a pink and a purple wand. The pink wand, doing that all over. And then the second and third application will be with the purple wand. And I use the pink wand just to separate the lashes. And then I use the purple wand to thicken up the lashes. Yeah, girl. There we go. Making sure that the eyelashes are dry before you do that second application, because you don't want them to clump up, because they will. And yeah, I'm just cleaning up the crease right there. As you can see, looking at myself. Yeah, girl. Looking fly. Watch out now. And that is the application. Now we're going to the foundation. For this particular part, I used HD, Makeup Forever HD foundation. And I like to put that all over my face first. And I like to do my foundation application last. It's completely up to you how you want to do that. I like to do mine last, especially if I'm using pigment. Okay, there I'm taking MAC's Pro Longwear Concealer in A70, I'm sorry, in NW35 and NC45, and I mix those together. And I use that as my concealer to brighten up under my eyes and along my cheekbones, along my eye area. And I like to mix those two colors because that gives me the look that I'm looking for with those two. Then I take MAC Studio Sculpt in SPF 15 foundation, and that color is NW50. And I use that to contour around my, you know, that little hollow area in your cheeky cheeks. And then I used Makeup Forever's HD high definition powder to set everything all over my face. And I'm using a stippling technique. I don't actually brush it on, I stipple it on so that I'm not messing up the foundation that I put underneath. There you have it. Now for contour and blush, I used MAC's Blunt to contour and in the hollows of my cheeks, and just blended that in there. And I always pretty much use contour with a nice fluffy brush to put it in good. And then I used MAC's Pink Swoon as the first layer on my cheeks, and I am a blush nut. For those of you that don't know, I kind of probably overdo blushes. You're certainly welcome to just do one color. I like to, I think my husband came in, or he was moving around the side, that's why I made that look just now. But I like to use two colors, and yeah, that's him talking to him. Pink Swoon is the first color. The second color I'll be using is called, it's Mineralized Finish Porcelain Pink. And I'm just using that to highlight around my eye area, just making a C and dabbing that on. And that's optional too. If you don't feel like you need a highlight, then don't add one. I thought it was a nice touch to just brighten the eye area. I know it's already bright with the with the pigment, but yeah. And then the last blush is Coy Girl by MAC, and I mostly focus that on the apples of my cheeks. But I like the application of the brush. I love blush. It just does something to your eye, to your face, and I don't know, just a blush nut. Ah, well. So that is the blush application. Just, yeah, girl, looking good. Okay, for the lipstick application, I put on a primer, lip primer by MAC. And I know this is backwards, but I followed that up. I put barbecue as a liner on for this particular look. And I put that all over the top lid, and I just outlined the bottom lid. And then the first color I put on by its MAC's Infinitely Likeable for the Prolonged Wear line. And I know you're thinking it's backwards, but I like the way that the Prolonged Wear lip glasses look. And then I put a Prolonged Wear lipstick over it called Dress It Up. And I like the effect that that has because the lip glass picks up the color from the lipstick, and it's just a nice, pretty effect, I thought. So that's a nice neutral pink lip for this particular look, since everything else is just bamming. There you have it.